Well, it is the season. Experts warn shoppers of new scams this holiday season, which includes some new ways people are being scammed. The story is written by Brady Habib, and Brady writes, scams skyrocket during the holiday season and how criminals are using different ways to steal personal and financial information. Experts are urging consumers to stay vigilant. Well, guess what? We've got the expert with us right now. Kathy Stokes is the head of fraud prevention at ARP. Kathy, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Happy holidays.
Well, happy holidays to you, but sadly for some of us, if we're not diligent, it might not be that happy holiday.
And gosh, it isn't necessarily even being about diligent. The criminals are so good at what they do that, you can have all the protections and all the knowledge and still somehow experience fraud and fraud losses.
I think we all, most of us know that car warranty thing might not be all it's cracked up to be, but what are some of the crazy things you're seeing people do this year?
Well, let me tell you on the car warranty one, the Federal Trade Commission ended up going after some bad actors that were behind most of those robocalls and took them down.
Oh, good.
And I don't know, I saw data from the end of last year, I think it was, but like the number of car warranty scams was up here. And then right after that, it was like, poof.
Oh, nice.
And it'll happen again.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
they'll just wait it out and somebody else will come up with a way to do it. But yeah, that's one
It'll
of
be
the most
my
ubiquitous.
it'll be my refrigerator warranty or something.
Yes. Yeah, something that you care deeply about.
Right. Well, what are the new ones? This piece talks about gift cards, websites.
The types of scams out there, most of them have been out there in one form or another since the beginning of time. What's changed is the technology that enables it, the ease of which criminals can access cheap technology and use it well, and a playbook that from the beginning of time has said, here's how you successfully steal somebody's money or personal information through social engineering. Call it different things, right? But it's basically this: reach that person out of the blue, get them into some state of heightened emotion. Oh my God, my grandson's in trouble. Or, oh my God, the IRS is coming after me. I didn't realize that I had back taxes that I owed. Or, the utility company is shutting off my power on the coldest day because they're saying I didn't
Mm.
pay. All of these things that get you into that excitement space, we're in a place in our heads that we can't access logical thinking, and they know that. And the third element is urgency. So if you can get someone from out of the blue, so unexpected call, scare the hell out of them, excite the hell out of them that they've just won $2 million from the Publishers Clearinghouse, and that they need to act now, that's the winning trifecta. And it's worked and it continues to work, and it only works better when revolutionary technology supports it. And that's where we are now. So yes, we've always had con man scams. What might have been at the door before. It
Yeah.
might have been through your mail before, and that still happens. But now technology, every criminal enterprise and their enterprises. This is organized crime. Has access to us in every way possible.
Well, Kathy Brady in this piece writes that they're using AI now. Like they're going to have a voice that sounds like somebody you know.
Yep. Well, Joe, I'm afraid to tell you, you've been out there enough, but only 5 or 10 seconds of a piece of your podcast can be used with generative artificial intelligence to have a full on conversation so that it sounds like you and someone's programming into their laptop what you're saying to your mom or your grandmom or your wife or your kids to make them believe that you're in big trouble. And if they can't help you right now, really bad things are going to happen.
You gave a talk on this at FinCon, where we both were in New Orleans
Yeah.
recently, where you talked about how this is definitely all of us, and certainly with technology, TikTok and so many kids that are on TikTok. I feel like it's super easy to pull one over on somebody on TikTok, Instagram, the different social media sites where a lot of younger people are, as much as older people, maybe, but probably even more. What are some of the things that are the hints, right? You've got a Kathy, I'm imagining at ARP, you and your team, you've got a list of, or at least some things that go, this is kind of a red flag. This is another red flag. Like, what are some of those signals we should be on the lookout for?
We probably, if we added them up, have about 183. and that's not going to help anybody, right? So
Ready, go.
we're trying to winnow that down a little bit. A couple of things we know. If you know about a specific scam because you heard about it on your show or because you've signed up for AARP, Fraud Watch Network, Watchdog alerts that you get every other week, or any other way reading the media coverage, you are far less likely to engage in that scam because you can see it coming. If you don't see it coming, that's when the trifecta I talked about, the out of the blue call that's urgent and it puts you in that heightened emotional state, those are the red flags that we need to care about the most. If we can somehow get into our brains that those three things together equals a scam probably 90% of the time, and to disengage, that would take us a long way. There are things to look out for. Unfortunately, you cannot trust any incoming communication. You can't trust that that letter from the IRS is legitimate. You can't trust that the text from your bank asking you yes or no, did you just approve some transaction? You can't trust links in your email. You can't trust going to linking from a social media ad or any other ad online to buy the great deal on Maui gym glasses. We're in a place where our backs are up against the wall because we don't have enough protections. It's a phrase my friend here, Doug Shadell, at AARP uses all the time, and it's the things that you can do that you can protect yourself with. Like for example, if you are not looking anytime soon to take out credit, to apply for a credit card or a loan for a car or a mortgage, freeze your credit reports. It makes it so much harder, almost impossible. I can't say impossible because these guys are good, for anyone to open up credit in your name, right? So you freeze down that credit. Turns out you need to take out a loan. You got to go back and unfreeze them with the three major agencies. It's a bit of a pain in the butt, but it's protective. And so that helps with new fraud account, new account fraud, I should say. We have a dilemma with passwords as we move toward biometrics. That's going to help us a lot more. We have to be using multi-factor authentication when we can. That is, type in your username and your password, and then set it up if it's accessible to then get an email or a text or a phone call with a number. Then you have to put in to prove that it's you. So don't click on things, freeze your credit, keep an eye on your credit report, annualcreditreport.com. That helps you to see if there's unusual, suspicious activity. And even though it may seem antithetical, set up online access to your financial accounts. It
Mm.
doesn't make it more dangerous. It makes it less dangerous.
Why is
Because if
that?
you don't do it, there's enough of your identity markers out there being bought and sold that someone's going to do it for you, and then they're going to divert your funds, your information to them, to an account that's not yours.
That is
um,
totally counterintuitive at first, but
Totally.
I completely get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is, when you do that, you also can set up alerts for yourself. I don't use my ATM card, my debit card, much, except like at an ATM. Or sometimes I think it's kind of safer in like our wallets and our electronic wallets because that's encrypted data and they're not even sharing my number. Um, but you can set up an alert that tells you every time there's a transaction out of that account. I do that. Sometimes I annoy myself
Yeah.
because I get the, but it's an easy thing. Okay, yep, I know that was me.
I'll tell you, Kathy, 6 months ago, Cheryl, my spouse, caught somebody buying plane tickets through Spirit Airlines. But we were able to catch them and shut off the transaction because of what you just said, because of those quick alerts.
And the banking financial services industry has been really, really good. They've really upped their game in their ability to use AI for good.
That's fabulous. Kathy, thanks for helping our stackers get a little more savvy about fraud. I super appreciate it. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thanks, Joe.